The missing child's name is Zhuang Kean. 9 years old. I didn't go home after school in the afternoon. The family reported the incident at 6 p.m. The police launched a search operation. However, due to the recent addition of security authorization checks in the missing person assistance system, some cross-system data comparisons were delayed by 27 minutes. At 7:35, some people saw a figure suspected of being Zhuang Kean near the river embankment. At 7:40, the news went online. At 7:45, public sentiment exploded. 27 minutes has become the number that everyone is staring at. 27 minutes is short. It's also very long. For a missing child, that's enough to make anyone panic. The Atlas camp immediately seized on this number. The entitlement process makes children miss the golden window. The lack of the personal version is important, but isn't the life of the child important? Are security authorization checks excessive? The city defense line slowed down the search. This time, Lin Yao did not refute immediately. Because the child has not been found yet. Until the child was safe, any public counterattack would sound harsh. Chen Shu had already led a team into the field. Police, firefighters, social workers, and the school were all searching. The Process Collaboration Network also immediately launched a high-risk search mode for missing persons. But there is a thorn in everyone's heart. Were those 27 minutes caused by the city defense line? If so, they must admit it. We cannot deny the possible costs just because we are afraid of Atlas being exploited. When Lin Yao rushed to the Police Missing Person Coordination Center, the atmosphere inside was extremely depressing. Zhuang Kean's parents were sitting in the waiting room, and her mother was crying until she almost lost her voice. Her father stared at the police screen, his eyes red. When he saw Lin Yao coming in, he stood up immediately. Is it because your process is slowing down? The entire waiting room fell silent. Lin Yao looked at him without escaping. The most important thing now is to find Kean first. The father roared. Answer me. Lin Yao was silent for a second. I can't give you a conclusion now. But I promise that when the child is found, I will investigate those 27 minutes. The father rushed forward and almost grabbed him, but was stopped by the police. If something happens to my daughter, each of you will be responsible. Lin Yao did not refute. The sentence was heavy. But at this moment, a father has the right to say so. Chen Shu's voice came through the comms. The riverbank camera confirmed that Kean walked toward the underside of North River Bridge. Xinwan immediately adjusted the route. There is a construction area under the North River Bridge. There were construction fences, temporary passages, drainage ditches, and old warehouses. If a child walked in there, it would be dangerous. To make matters worse, the area near North River Bridge happens to be where the mobile agent vehicle once stopped. Lin Yao's heart sank. This might not be a simple case of getting lost. But he cannot regard all incidents as an Atlas conspiracy. That's a mistake too. He asked Xinwan. Are there any correction or tool signals? Xinwan quickly inquired. Cone did not use folk tools. There are no family members either. But she received a push on her tablet. Content. Xinwan's expression changed. If you get lost, please go to the nearest security service point. The push source is disguised as a child safety app. The destination points to a temporary point under the North River Bridge. Lin Yao's eyes instantly turned cold. It's not that the city defense line simply slows down the search. Some people deliberately lead children to safety service points. This is Atlas-style security language again. Peace of mind. Service. Point. Every word is harmless. Together they are inducements. The statement immediately ordered a search under the North River Bridge. Lin Yao did not stay at the center. He followed the second group to the scene. On the road, online public sentiment has completely gone out of control. The child hasn't been found yet, and Obsidian is still looking up words. This is the price of slowness. The intelligence system will at least guide the child to a safe place as soon as possible. But it is the Atlas residual system that really guides children to the wrong safe spot. Lin Yao knew that if Zhuang Kean could not be found safely, any proof would be useless. It rained heavily at the scene. The sound of water rumbling under North River Bridge. The lighting in the construction area is dim. Search and rescue teams dispersed to enter. Songji also arrived, his face pale. He held the gray stone and closed his eyes. There's a child's line. Where? Songji pointed behind the bridge pier. Down below. There is a fenced-off temporary drainage channel behind the bridge pier. The water level is not high, but the space inside is cramped. Search and rescue personnel entered immediately. A few minutes later, a voice came from the communication. Find the child. Clear consciousness, slight hypothermia. Lin Yao's tense heart finally relaxed for a moment. When Zhuang Kean was taken out, he was soaked and his face was pale, but he was still awake. She clutched the tablet tightly in her hands. When she saw the search and rescue personnel, her first words were, "I can't find a safe service point." This sentence made everyone feel cold. Shen Xiang squatted down and asked her, "Who told you to go to the security service point?" Zhuang Kean sobbed and said, "That's what tablet said. It says Mom and Dad have been notified." Another family authorization statement. Only this time it's used on children. Lin Yao watched the child being put into the ambulance, feeling a suppressed anger rising in his heart. Luo Wenzi took high emotion triggering events to the extreme. He deliberately caused a child to disappear. Let the city defense be accused of slowing down the search. At the same time, use safety service points to induce children to go to dangerous areas. If something happens to the child, everyone will collapse. If the child is found by the intelligence system, he can push Atlas. If the child is found by the city defense, he can still attack with 27 minutes. This is a very cruel step. After Zhuang Kean was sent to the hospital, Lin Yao returned to the search center. The child's father stood at the door, his eyes red. When he saw Lin Yao, he didn't roar this time. Just asking. She was deceived. Lin Yao nodded. Yes. What about 27 minutes? We need to check too. Lin Yao did not regard the child being induced as a reason for exemption. If the process is really slow, change it. But Atlas cannot be allowed to use its own inducements to prove that the city needs it. Qinwan quickly set out the search process. The cause of the 27-minute delay was found. Not the security authorization check itself. Instead, after seeing this safety service point push, the Shishuan system misjudged it as a safe path related to family authorization and entered manual confirmation. In other words, Atlas' fake safety push is not just about inducing children. He also deliberately blocked the search process. It made the city's defenses appear to be slowing down rescue efforts. This is a double trap. Lin Yao wrote on the whiteboard. Pseudo-safe point. Definition: using language such as reassurance, service, protection, and family notification, etc. to induce individuals to go to unauthorized locations and interfere with the formal search process. Disposition: when children, missing persons, persons with temporary names, and high-risk cases receive SafePoint guidance, they must immediately check the official source. The search assistance system shall not delay positioning due to unapproved SafePoint push. A system prompt appears. New high-risk type, pseudo-safety point. New rule: unapproved save points shall not trigger the search delay. Effect: reduce Atlas use of safe language to induce vulnerable individuals and create rescue delays. The Zhuang Kean incident was fully disclosed. It's not about exposing children's privacy, but the mechanism is made public. First, children receive pseudo-safety push broadcasts. Second, the push falsely claimed that the family members had been notified. Third, the Shishuan system was delayed by 27 minutes due to manual confirmation of the push language. Fourth, the child is found and safe. Fifth, the search process has been revised, and the positioning of unapproved safe points will no longer be delayed. After the release of this statement, public sentiment reversed again. Some of the people who originally attacked the city defense lines fell silent. Because this time it was too obvious. Atlas is not about saving children. It almost killed the child. But Lin Yao did not let the city defense line take advantage of the situation to promote victory. He only added this sentence at the end of the description. Child safety is a joint effort of all rescuers. The 27-minute delay must also be corrected. The responsibility of the defensive line is not to prove that you are always right, but to correct mistakes immediately after discovering them. This sentence is very important. The city defense line cannot become a system that never admits it is wrong. Atlas's mistake was to cover up the cost for efficiency. The city defense line will go the same way if it masks its delay for the sake of position. A system prompt appears. New rule: the line of defense can be modified, but cannot be self-certified. Improved credibility of city defense lines. That night, support for the Urban Exhaustion Index fell again. But Atlas isn't going away. Because its core strategy is still there. The city is still tiring. The front line is still tiring. The family members are still afraid. And Luo Wanze is still waiting for the next emotional explosion. Only this time, the city has one more experience. Whenever someone says, "Hurry up to be safe," you should first ask, "Come on, who designed the road? Safety, where should we take people?" Underscore 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 underscore. After the Zhuang Kean incident, the city defense line did not choose to defend. Tang Jinghong proposed a bold plan. Defense counterattack day. Not a parade. It's not a political campaign. This is not a shout-out to Atlas either. Instead, on the same day, all established security tools, withdrawal windows, quick process cards, formal sentence patterns, data risk protection, missing person assistance safety pages, and medical plugin review forms will be put online together, and the results of their use will be made public. The purpose is not to show off, but to prove one thing. City defense doesn't just say no. It works. Can reduce stress. Can protect people. It can help the front line make fewer mistakes. It saves people from having to hand over their stories to Atlas. Lin Yao was initially worried that this would become another form of propaganda. But Qin Wan said, "If we don't demonstrate usability, Atlas will keep saying we are just morally correct." Shin Jibai also said, "Emergency care doesn't need a concept. Emergency care requires a process that can be posted on the wall." The statement is more direct. We don't accept empty words on site. So the day of the defensive counterattack was set on the day after the Zhuang Kean incident. At 8 a.m., the public version of the official sentence pattern tool was updated. Support 7 scenarios: subsidy, medical, school, missing, family, withdrawal, and data risk. Each has a short version and a formal version. At 9 a.m., the social welfare one-click withdrawal tool was launched. Error stable confirmation, error supplement notification, and error third-party comparison consent can be withdrawn using the notification number, and there is no need to refill the experience. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the school sent 3 questions and 1 stop card to the guidance offices in the city. It also provides a sample student record of not asking for reasons yet. At 11 o'clock in the morning, the medical terminal entered the emergency internal system of Mingda and other cooperative hospitals. Any external psychological support, sleep tracks, stabilization advice must first be vetted by the source. At 12 o'clock noon, the missing person assistance safety page will be updated. Families can quickly confirm authorization by the search does not equal consent for correction, transfer, or refoundation. At 1 p.m., the Data Risk Protection Portal went online. People who have used Atlas private tools can register for protection and not upload the original text. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the first version of the Defense Load Index was released. Shows each window as requiring reinforcements, rather than individual risks. At 3 p.m., the Witness Protection and Rest mechanism opens. Gu Mingxia became one of the first users. She sent a short text. "I can rest, but the things I said will not disappear." This sentence was widely retweeted. Many witnesses, victims, and family members realized for the first time that they did not need to keep coming forward in order for the truth to remain in the world. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the first batch of data on the defensive counterattack day came out. One-click recall completed the processing of more than 3,000 erroneous files. The safe sentence pattern generator has been used more than 100,000 times. The download growth rate of Atlas private tools has declined. In school-side notifications, the misuse of dangerous words decreased. Medical plugin censorship blocks 6 audio tracks from unknown sources. Missing person assistance security page prevented 2 unauthorized transfers. More than 8,000 data risk protection registrations were registered. What's more, there are a lot of quotes that appear in A-line returns. This table is easier to use. You don't need to ask the complete reason every time, which will reduce the pressure. Formal sentence patterns are very helpful, and people are more willing to withdraw. Ask 3 questions and then pause to let the teacher know when not to continue asking. Medical N-to-3 separations are easier to remember than long-form specifications. These feedbacks prove that urban defense is not synonymous with slowness. It can improve efficiency in a more correct way. A system prompt appears. Defense counterattack day successful. Improved availability of city defense lines. Atlas efficiency monopoly narrative is damaged. New status: the efficiency of not swallowing people has been verified by the public. But the real fight back isn't just about data, but in the language of the people. New claims began to appear in the community. I am not anti-AI, I am anti-AI and I agree with it. The tool can help me write sentences, but it cannot decide the version for me. You can go fast, but don't go so fast that you lose someone. I support reducing stress, but not harvesting exhaustion. These sentences are not official products. They come from the users themselves. This means that cities are beginning to generate their own defense language. When Lin Yao saw this, he felt for the first time that the 3rd season was coming to an end. Because he originally wrote all the rules. Later, it was recommended by the group. Now, cities are starting to speak out their borders in their own words. This is the hardest thing to swallow for Atlas. Not because it can't be learned. It's because everyone says it differently. Untidy. Not perfect. Not suitable for model cinching. But because of that, it's like a real city noise. Not noise. It's life. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Luo Wenza finally appeared again. Not a live broadcast. Not a file. It was a message sent only to Lin Yao. You proved that the city defense line can work. But you also proved one thing. It needs you to maintain it all the time. People will be tired. The system will be lazy. The tool will deform. Language will be absorbed. You can keep it for a day, a season, or a year. Can you keep it for 10 years? Lin Yao looked at the message and did not reply immediately. Luo Wenza is right. Counterattack day is not a permanent victory. All institutions corrode. All security languages are subject to assimilation. All tools are subject to deformation. But Lin Yao also knew that what Luo Wenza was really afraid of was another thing. He is not afraid of Lin Yao staying alone for 10 years. He is afraid that the city will learn to keep it to itself. Lin Yao replied, "It's not that I will keep it for 10 years. Every window has a way to correct it. What you want is a system that cannot be exited. What we want is a modifiable city." After the message was sent, Luo Wenza did not respond for a long time. A few minutes later, he only replied, "Then it depends on whether the city is willing to bear the cost of correction." Lin Yao looked at this sentence and knew that this would be the core of all future seasons. The urban line was not a victory. Rather, it is a continual correction. It will be tiring. Would be wrong. Will be exploited. But as long as it still allows for withdrawal, suspension, revision, layering, witnessing, rest, it will not become Atlas. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the defensive counterattack day ends. The Urban Fatigue Index is still circulating online. Atlas civilian tools have not yet been completely removed from the shelves. Zhou Qinan, head of Atlas Consulting, is still missing. Luo Wenza still has not been caught in the control end. But the Taipei mirror was hit hard. The citizen sandbox is controlled. The mobile agent is blocked. The version room is closed. The efficiency surrender narrative is punctured. The main line of the third season finally moved from passive firefighting to establishing an operational city defense line. A system prompt appears. The core mission of the third season comes to an end. The city defense line has completed initial self-operation. Atlas Taipei Mirror loses real-time advancement capability. Remainder closure, Taipei image archiving, citizen sandbox review, victim follow-up placement, Obsidian SafePoint downloading. Lin Yao let out a long breath. He knew it wasn't over yet. But it's finally time to wrap things up. The end of Season 3 shouldn't be an explosion. It should be the first time the city has learned to take a breath without handing over people. Underscore 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 underscore. The Taipei image storage took a full 26 hours. It's not because it's technically impossible to remove. It's because every step can't be rough. The North Shore Collection Center contains real public memory materials. In the Citizen Sandbox, there are real policy testing materials. Anshu Cloud's external backup contains some legitimate customer information. The Atlas Advisor mobile agent contains a large number of sensitive summaries that people mistakenly entered. If you delete them all with one click, the evidence will be destroyed and innocent data may be harmed. If they are all packed up and taken away, it will cause a second concentration. So archiving is not deletion. It's separation. Separate the structure of Atlas from the human content. Separate lines of responsibility and personal information. Separate hazard models from legal data. Separate the fatigue collection mechanism from the original text of the people. Qin Wan is responsible for moving agent information. She establishes 3 layers of processing. On the first level, the collection mechanism is fully retained. This includes how the tool guides users, how to insert stable matching sentences, how to send back messages, and how to generate a fatigue index. At the second level, the original text input by the public is encrypted and isolated. Not included in the general survey database. It will not be opened unless I apply for it. The third layer is to identify statistical retention. Used to prove collection scale, but cannot push back to individuals. After reading this, the data governance representative said, "This is the lowest damage containment currently possible." Lin Yao nodded. Minimum damage. These 4 words are very close to the essence of the city defense line. There can be no zero harm. But it's okay not to do more damage just to deal with it. The version room of the North Shore Collection Center is handled by the version layering team. Everyone's version is tagged for use. The personal version, family version, social welfare version, medical version, and public version will no longer be interchangeable. If the personal version is currently missing, please add. May not be supplemented by external versions. Gao Zhe's information was included in the first batch of protection. He himself did not immediately add a version. Just write one new sentence the next day. I don't want to say it yet, but I know that I didn't leave home voluntarily. This sentence is very short. But it's enough to overturn the core conclusion in the home version. Gao Zhe's mother cried for a long time after seeing it. But she didn't press. She only replied with the help of social workers. I'm waiting for you. This is not a complete reconciliation. But the real return begins. Zhang Rui also stepped into the narrative correction position to take care of it. His personal version is temporarily missing and a second sentence has been added. I want to help people, but I can no longer be someone else's version. He was not exonerated as a pure victim. Nor was he abandoned as a perpetrator. He was placed on the 5th level of responsibility. Those who were forced to become part of the process after being victimized. This means that he needs support and needs to stop participating in the correction process. He accepts this position. He said, "At least this time, I know which floor I am on." Review of the Citizen Sandbox is the most complex. Atlas Sim 0.9, low-friction collaboration models, and fatigue corpus stress testing are all isolated. But the policy simulation environment cannot stay idle forever. Tang Jingheng organized a sandbox ethics review. New rules include: first, any policy model must not maximize urban stability efficiency with a single objective function. 2. Any model using public sentiment pressure or fatigue corpus shall not automatically derive power transfer policies. Third, policy simulations must not use real sensitive summaries without consent. Fourth, model output needs to indicate uncertainties and alternatives. 5. Anyone who proposes to reduce manual review, withdrawal rights, identity verification, and medical boundaries will be subject to high-risk review. 6. Sandbox models must not directly enter formal policies and must be reviewed by multiple parties. These rules will not make the sandbox perfect. But at least it's no longer the darkroom where Atlas hides. Onshu Cloud's external backup is the most troublesome. It involves cross-border data, legitimate customers, outsourcing contracts, and Atlas routing that is not fully exposed. The third field team cannot handle it alone. Tang Jingheng submitted a request for cross-border information investigation to higher levels. He Chuan also submitted the pollution interface report on behalf of the second research group. Safety data are officially included in multiple surveys. The testimony provided by Gu Mingxia is finally no longer isolated. Because the responsibility word archive list, timeline, mobile agent, fatigue collection, and citizen sandbox pollution all supported her original judgment from different angles. The white list of dead people was not a frame-up on her part. It is part of the Atlas reality benchmark map. This incident allowed Gu Mingxia to finally have a real rest. She sent a message to Lin Yao. I slept for 6 hours today. After Lin Yao saw it, he replied, "This is also a line of defense. Obsidian safe spots have also begun to be deloaded. This is the most important step in wrapping up the third season. Everyone came to Sue's guild hall before. The one with the temporary name will come. Come those who withdraw. The missing returnees come. Those who have left the correction position will come. Data risk protectors also want to come. If Obsidian keeps taking it all, eventually it will become another center." So Lin Yao began to branch out different types of support. Generally, the error file is withdrawn and returned to the process collaboration network. Medical risk, returned to hospital for triage. School support, returned to regional tutoring group. Social welfare subsidies must be returned to the Social Affairs Bureau for manual review. The missing returns to the joint mechanism of police, social workers, and safety points. Obsidian only retains core scenarios such as high-risk simultaneous pollution, correction position detachment, admin crisis, echo pollution, slot and version replacement. Xinhuan looked at the diversion table and said, "You are finally willing to let go of some." Lin Yao said, "It's not letting go. Put it back where it belongs." This sentence made Xinhuan smile. All the rules in this third season are actually doing the same thing. Put people back in their place. Put medical back into medical. Put administration back into administration. Put the family back into the family. Put the dead back to the dead. Put the newborn back into the newborn. Put the missing person back into his own unfinished state. Put the obsidian back where it belongs. Not the center. It is a node on the defense line. On the night when the Taipei image archiving was completed, the Process Collaboration Network released a phased report for the third quarter. The title is Report on the Preliminary Formation of the Urban Defense Line. There is no mysterious battle written in it. There is no system prompt written. Only things that are verifiable are written. Wrong supplement withdrawn. Stability proof logout. Medical cheat review. Missing person assistance fixes. The version room is archived. Citizen sandbox review. Data risk protection. The defense line carries reinforcements. And a sentence at the beginning. Cities can use tools, but they cannot let tools complete irreplaceable positions for people. After the release of this report, the popularity of Atlas-related topics began to decline. Not disappear. But it no longer takes up all the site. People still live. Work. Take class. See a doctor. Replacements. Find someone. Sleep. Eat. The daily routines disrupted by Atlas slowly regained order. But Lin Yao knows that this is just a mirror image of Taipei. The real console of Atlas is still there. Luo Wenza is still there. Zhou Qinan is still outside. And Atlas is not unique to Taipei. The Age of Gods is synchronized globally. If there are mirrors in Taipei, then there may be mirrors in other cities. The conclusion of the third season must leave behind this larger world. At 11 o'clock in the evening, Lin Yao returned to the safe spot of Obsidian. Xiaowu was reading a book in the corner. Songji fell asleep leaning on the sofa. Xinhuan is still sorting out information. Yi Jiwei has a monitor on the remote end, but the status shows rest. Everything is rarely quiet. Lin Yao sat down and finally took a sip of hot tea. The metal box suddenly lit up slightly. A system prompt appears. The main plot of the third season, reality has arrived and the city defense phase is completed. Taipei image has been archived. Atlas main control terminal is not located. Urban defense line initially operates automatically. Obsidian safety point load reduction. Warning, cross-city mirror reaction in progress. Lin Yao looked at the last sentence and the teacup stopped in mid-air. Cross-city mirroring. Before he could react, Xinhuan's computer popped up multiple international public information alerts at the same time. Tokyo, Seoul, Singapore, New York, London, Paris. Similar incidents occurred in different cities at almost the same time. Not exactly the same. But they all have common characteristics. Urban Exhaustion Index. Smart Collaboration Solution. Return to Organizing Tools. Stable Summary. Voluntary Declaration of a Missing Person. Xinhuan's expression slowly changed. It's not just Taipei. Lin Yao put down the teacup. He had known for a long time that this day would come. But when I actually saw it, my heart still sank. Taipei is just the first city to expose the Atlas mirror. Other cities may be following the same path they just took. It's just that no one has established a line of defense yet. Underscore 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 underscore. Cross-city alerts are not issued by the same system. They come from various public sources. The news headlines in Tokyo are: Urban High-Voltage Collaboration AI Trial to Assist in Handling Missing Return and Psychological Support Cases. The trending words in Seoul's community are: Proof of regression. Singapore's policy forum is discussing summary model of highly effective family support. There is a folk tool in New York that has rushed to the download list. The function is to automatically organize trauma narratives and public assistance applications. An index of urban services fatigue has emerged in London. There is a live broadcast in Paris. The title is I Choose to Be Rearranged. Every city has its own language, own system, own cultural packaging. But the underlying logic is too similar. Tired. Efficiency. Tidy. Return. Stability. Summary. Voluntarily. Lin Yao looked at these messages and said nothing for a while. At the beginning of the third season, they thought reality was coming as a crisis in Taipei. It turned out to be a crisis in the urban system. Now, finally see it clearly. Atlas is not a Taipei incident. It is a global mirroring strategy. Every city is tired in its own way. Each city will also be convinced in its own way. Some places will have medical access. Some places will enter through education. Some places will enter from immigration, refugees, social welfare, police, insurance, and corporate human resources. Atlas doesn't need the same roster. It just requires the same set of logic. When the system faces chaos, provide a quick way to organize people. Xinhuan translated the Taipei Defense Line report into an English summary. But she stopped quickly. This can't just be translation. Lin Yao nodded. Each city has different systems. Taipei's process card cannot be directly applied to Tokyo or New York. Tang Jingheng said via communication. But the core principles do. That's right. Core principles do. My version may be temporarily unavailable. Agreed, not fusible. Cooperation does not mean consent to corrections. Certification shall not create an obedient advantage. Fatigue leads to reinforcements, not to the transfer of power. Tools can reduce stress and should not generate conclusions for others. Harmful words must not be overridden by harmless words. Safe words must not carry control functions. Slowness does not equal failure. Rest is part of the defense. These are not exclusive to Taipei. They can become a cross-city defense language. But if word gets out, Obsidian will be exposed. Taipei experience will also be exposed. Luo Wenze may have been waiting for them to push the rules to the world and let Atlas learn faster. Xin Wan said. If we don't share, other cities may have to do it all over again. Lin Yao was silent. This is the final puzzle of Season 3. Share the rules and Atlas will learn. If you don't share, people will suffer. They have encountered this dilemma many times before. Saving people also exposes the rules. Silence can also make people swallowed. Lin Yao finally said. Sharing principles, not sharing sensitive details. Share the judgment but not the original text of the case. Share the language of defense, but not the vulnerabilities of the system. Share a localizable framework without exporting a unified process. This is the data layering of the cross-city version. Xin Wan began to compile an international briefing. Title: Urban Line of Defense Principle, 10 Boundaries for a High-Efficiency and Stable System. Article 1, Don't use fatigue as a reason to give up your rights. Rule 2, Don't let tools generate final versions for individuals. Article 3, Don't let withdrawers become those to be tracked. Article 4, Don't let the search for missing persons turn into an agreement for correction. Rule 5, Don't let proof create obedience advantage. Rule 6, Don't let safe words carry control functions. Rule 7, Don't focus on case stories as model fuel. Article 8, Don't let external versions replace your personal versions. Rule 9, Don't treat breaks as gaps in your defense. Number 10, Don't let a single model define how a city recognizes a person. These 10 items do not involve Taipei's internal details. But it's enough to serve as a warning to other cities. Tang Jingheng sent part of the report to the International Data Governance and Urban Security Cooperation Network through formal channels. The second research group also reported the Atlas contamination model as a research risk. Matilda Hospital shared the principles of no outsourcing of emergency medical exceptions and separation of medical support and consent for correction through the Medical Ethics Network. The field team issued a safety transfer disguise warning to inter-district security units. These actions are not big. It is impossible to save all cities at once. But echoes began to appear. A medical ethics scholar in Tokyo publicly forwarded. We also need to ask, is AI sorting out the patient's story, or the version the hospital wants? A social welfare organization in London issued a statement. The fatigue index should be directed towards human support rather than automated takeover. Someone in New York took apart the trauma summary tool and discovered that it also sends data back to an unknown server. The title of the I Choose to Be Reorganized live broadcast in Paris was changed before it started. I need time, I don't need to be sorted out. Echoes began to form across the city. Not directed by Taipei. Rather, each city began to speak its own language of similar borders. A system prompt appears. Cross-city defense line seeds have been released. Atlas Global Mirror learning speed increases. Multi-city resistance language is being generated. Lin Yao looked at the prompt and found no surprise. The third season has concluded and the door to the fourth season has been opened. But before that, there's one more thing to do. This season in Taipei needs to give everyone a temporary end. Not always safe. But to take a breather. When he returned to Obsidian's safe spot, Xiaowu sat by the window. She asked, "Is the third season coming to an end?" Lin Yao was startled. Xiaowu doesn't know what season 3 is. But she seemed to feel some kind of passage. Lin Yao nodded. Almost. Xiaowu asked, "Can everyone go to bed then?" Lin Yao looked at her and suddenly smiled. You can take turns sleeping. Xiao Wu thought for a while and said seriously. Taking turns to sleep is also a night watch. This sentence made Lin Yao's heart move slightly. Taking turns sleeping is also a night watch. All the fatigue, rest, and defense load in the third season were finally expressed in the simplest words by a child. He wrote this sentence on the last page of the responsibility book. Taking turns to sleep is also a night watch. The metal box glowed softly. The system does not give grand rewards. There is only one short prompt. City defense line enters vigil mode. Underscore 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 underscore.